my name is Gilgamesh Taggett. I'm playing Oliver Warbucks in Annie, the national tour, directed by the brilliant Martin Charnin, who also was the lyricist for it.
So what's the secret of Annie, do you think? Everyone's seen it. We've seen the movie. People have seen the show. So why do people still want to come back and see the sun come out tomorrow, I guess?
I think that's exactly why, is the show gives us hope. It reminds us that no matter how hard things are getting, as the words say it, when I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. And that may seem corny to some people, and I actually had somebody offer me this role previously in a small regional venue. And they said, well, I really got this role I want to see you play. And it's Annie. And he said it with this real apology. And I said, why? I don't understand, because I hate to admit this, I've never seen the show other than from the inside. And I still find it delightful. And then you can ask me in a year's time when we've been on the road doing 8 shows a week. It's a show about love. It's a show about hope. It's a show about the indomitable human spirit and the indomitable American spirit, particularly during the Great Depression.
You may be the only person on the planet who's never seen the show, then.
I think me and one other person in the show, actually, I said that, and they went, oh, I thought I was the only one. So,
and you never even saw the movie or anything?
Well, I did see the movie, but I mean, that's always
slightly
such a derivation.
Yeah.
But of course, Albert Finney and Tim Curry and Madeline Kahn, I was very happy to see. I've always been a huge Albert Finney fan and a Tim Curry fan. And of course, Carol Burnett as Miss Hannigan. And they all did a wonderful job, and I remember the movie, but there's always been a soft spot for this show in my heart, because everybody's always made fun of it to one degree or another. And whether you're a theater person and you're jaded and it's been done so many times, you still have to remind yourself it's been around for 38 years for a reason. And that's no matter how tired we've been. When we come off stage, even as the performers, we've already performed the show more times than we can count. And that's just in the rehearsal process and over-obsessing on lines and exactly where to stand. And then when all the pieces come together with the lights, we still come off at the end of a show hopeful. And it feels great, because the ending is a perfect Christmas present. It's all wrapped up in a bow, and you walk out humming songs and feeling like life's going to be okay.
How is it being back home in Michigan, where you grew up?
It's marvelous. It really is a wonderful piece of kismet to be able to launch my first national tour of a beloved American classic in my home state where I grew up. My mother did come see the show on opening weekend, and she was one of those lovely, patient women that said, oh, you want to do this for a living? Because I grew up in a farm community. They had no concept that there's an actual, yes, there's movies and there's Broadway, but there's a whole regional level in between where you can make your money doing it. And but she was always patiently waiting for my tomorrow to arrive, and for her to see the tour open and for it to launch in Detroit it's an honor. And I'm happy to be here, because Michigan really has welcomed us, and Detroit's been so gracious to us.
I bet you've gotten a lot of calls and emails from people that say, you don't remember me, but can you give me some free tickets?
Strangely, I do. Well, yeah, there is that. And there are people that are sending me lovely messages, whether it's Facebook or a text message, or it's really great to see. I just received a contact from somebody I haven't seen in 25 years. And I remembered the name, and it was wonderful to get the message. And then immediately, 10 minutes later, another message from somebody that I haven't seen in 18 or 20 years. And they weren't, I did expect, I'm not going to be that jaded, but I did expect people to, hey, because, theater ticket prices are what they are. I'm well aware. But they were almost every message has just been so happy to see a local boy done well, so happy to see Michigan being well represented, and the outpouring of love has been fantastic.
How is it performing on the stage of this beautiful, magnificent old Fisher Theater? Fisher
is a gorgeous old girl. She really is. It still has that fantastic old Art Deco style that just. And it's not kitschy. It just screams classic. And that's actually one of the things I'm looking forward to this entire year, is all the beautiful theaters we're going to get to visit.
Is it different for you, performing in a community theater, which may have, 100 seats or 200, as opposed to the Fisher, which I think has 3,000 or something?
Yeah, it's 2,089 something. It's a very interesting number. But I should give the pat. I mean, I do teach theater, but mostly not at college or high school. I did at the Beck Center for the Arts in Cleveland, where I've been living for the last decade or so. And I've always told my students, every night is somebody's grocery money or somebody's clothes money. Martin Charnin, our director, said and to hear something that I've always believed echoed by a great in the industry. He said, remember, this is the money that's involved here. Nobody buys a single ticket to Annie. There are no single ticket sales. It's always groups of 4 or more. And when you add together the seat prices, that's a month's worth of groceries, or that's a car payment, or that's a mortgage payment. And you're always doing your opening night, because that crowd, that's their opening night. They're seeing you for the first time and possibly the last. And you should always treat it that way. So I've felt that way since Caro at the Knights of Columbus Hall. Oh, my goodness, just thinking about this is even a weird memory. We had to build our stage. We literally had to build a 2-foot platform. Then we would build the set on that. And my father, Gene Taggett, was integral to that process while I was doing it. And you asked that question really harkens me to something my aunt said yesterday, and that's, or my cousin said. She said, Dad's looking, my father passed a few years ago. She said, he's watching you. He's watching this. I said, you know what? Every time I want to say, God, I wish my dad were here. Every show, whether it was in a small space in the backyard, or whether it was at the Knights of Columbus Hall or at Beck Center for the Arts in Cleveland, where I've performed a lot, and they have a 400-seat house, or at the Fisher with 3,000 seats. Every show he ever came, he always treated it like it was my opening night on Broadway. And that's what every member of the audience is expecting from you. And that's our responsibility and our job to do. Yeah,
that's always been one of my favorite theater sayings too, that every night is opening night for these people, because they like you say, they're not coming back. Probably they aren't able to come more than once, so you have to.
I mean, the show is a lot about the economy of the Depression era, and that rings very true right now for a lot of Americans. And the Alden Dow, I cut my teeth for a long time at Midland Center for the Arts up in Midland, Michigan. And Alden Dow created this amazing facility up there, educational as well as theater, as well as music, orchestration. And he always had a challenge to the business community saying, hey, it's your job to finance theater, the arts, music, all of it. Because what you'll receive back won't be financial, but what it does for your community is incalculable. And then his charge to the performers was always, remember, this is someone's shoes. This is someone's food. This is someone's whatever. They could have spent that on something for their children or their family. They're paying that money to see you. Never forget that responsibility.
Do you have a favorite moment in the show, or, when you're duetting or interacting with Annie, or what did you like best?
It's strange. I wanted to immediately say the people, just everyone in the cast. I really enjoy working with them. They're the hardest working people in show business I've ever worked with, and they're all so grateful and so excited for this opportunity. But then there are so many. I'd have to say I have to give a shout out to John Cormier, who does. There's a moment where we're in the president's office, and the cabinet sings tomorrow. And he plays Harold Ickes, who is historically a very angry man and very grumpy, who is swept away by Annie and her song. And he has a moment that, and I have nothing to do with it. I just have the pleasure of being on stage and watching it happen. I think audiences will really love it.
Well, we're so happy that you're here, and we want to make sure that people get to the Fisher Theater. You're here through October 4th?
Yes, through the 4th. We have shows Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday afternoon and evening, and then Sunday matinee. The matinees, please make sure and check the websites. You can go to the Fisher's website for tickets, as well as you can go to AnnieTheMusical.com. We have information there as well. And BroadwayInDetroit.com. Tickets are available there, because the Sunday matinee is 1, but the Saturday and Thursday matinees are 2 o'clock. So I don't want anybody to be late with their kids.
All right. Gilgamesh Taggett, Daddy Warbucks. Did you have to shave your head for the show, by the way, or was that already part of your repertoire?
Ironically, it was a role in 2005. I used to have over about 40 inches of hair. I looked like Meatloaf. It was ridiculous. And they asked me to shave my head for a role in 2005, and I've just kept it. And I'm so glad that it happened, because otherwise I wouldn't be sitting in this room talking to you right now.
Right. Okay. It's so great. And enjoy the rest of your run in Detroit. And
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot.